Everybody doing?
Great.
Hey.
Man, I just love Schaumburg so much. This town has a special place in my heart. In fact, the first time I ever saw a baseball game was right here at Wintrust Field. That's right, 2007 Schaumburg Flyers versus Joliet Jackhammers. Yeah, two places that you would literally never expect to have baseball teams. Seriously, so I went to Purdue, and I'm not even sure the state of Indiana has any organized baseball teams.
Really?
Surprising, considering that whole state is literally one giant sandlot. But seriously, I still remember the good old days of boarding the shuttle from Purdue, getting off at Woodfield Mall in the midst of the holiday season, and even tipping the Salvation Army guy. You know, part of me hopes that he's here today just to see how far I've come. And for those who are curious, no, I'm not related to your congressman. So, any Bollywood fans here today? Huh? Well, I'm certainly prepared for this demographic. For some reason, that line always got a standing ovation at the Purdue South Asian Student Union Board. So one of my favorite Bollywood movies all time is called Krish, spelled K-R-R-I-S-H. Anybody seen it?
No.
Which, for those of you who are curious, when translated from Hindi, still translates to Krish. So Krish is a standalone sequel that came out in 2006 for a 2003 movie called Koi Mil Gaya. Now, the easiest way to explain all this would be if E.T. had a sequel, and that sequel was X-Men. Now, if you ask me, Krish was one of those sequels that was done right and arguably better than the original. It's basically the Indian Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Like I said, it's a standalone sequel, so you don't really have to understand the first one to know the entirety what happened in the second movie. Now, you guys are probably thinking to yourself by now, you said it already. We get it, Pranav. We don't need a dictionary definition. What you need to know is that in the original, the son of a late scientist who built a device to communicate with aliens ends up meeting an alien who gives him a higher IQ and the ability to impress his dream girl. Yeah, knowing me, you're probably thinking, Pranav, that's not going to make you want to believe in aliens now, is it? Who knows, if I say it enough, it might actually happen. But this movie is about his son. I mean, while the alien gave his dad a higher IQ, this kid was born with superhuman strength, speed, jumping ability, and skills in hand-to-hand combat. Can you imagine those genetics? It's like if Albert Einstein's child was Wolverine. Loving this crowd tonight. You must be thinking right now, what kind of movie genre is Krish? Is that sci-fi? Is that superhero? I'll tell you what it is. It's exactly the way Bollywood does it. Masala. So our protagonist travels from India to Singapore to follow his love interest, played by Priyanka Chopra, and finds out that his father is still alive and being kept prisoner. Proving that if you ever stalk a woman, you're always going to be in for the biggest shock of your life. I gotta say, of all the superhero movies I've seen, this is probably the most extreme case of a secret identity. When a TV station in Singapore assumes that he has superpowers, he downplays everything to the point of portraying himself like a blockhead. I gotta say, that's the complete opposite of the usual tactics that we use to impress the girl we're into. I mean, aren't we all just complete blockheads who suddenly turn into superheroes when our crush is nearby? So fast forward to 2003 when Krish 3 comes out. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would say this movie was literally knocking off X-Men The Last Stand. A lot like X-Men The Last Stand, considering each movie cast had a mutant played by an actor whose politics have gotten them into trouble at least once. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, congrats on having a life. In conclusion, if you think waiting for a Hollywood sequel is long, then I suggest you find something to occupy your time while waiting for the release of Krish 2049. Thank you guys so much. I'm Pranav Guru. Good night.